Tell him.
Craigus, you are a robot.
A clicker? Me? Now isn't that something? Now that you found yourself capable of murder, I don't suppose anything as minor as an insult would offend your circuits.
Craigus, there are only 15 robots on this planet capable of acting against a human being. You are one of them. Maxine is another.
Look, you can tell the world I'm a clicker, but you can't tell me.
Craigus, they think we're something or someone else.
Well, that's exactly what's happened. And you've made some pretty damaging admissions. Clicker, you're in trouble.
Horace, would you prove the status of our friend, Craigus? Proceed! Don't be afraid, Craigus. Take it out. The blade, Craigus. Look at the blade.
Didn't feel a thing.
Reflex action. Cut off your pain relays.
I'm no clicker. R96, anything. I hate robots. I'm a leader in the Order of Flesh and Blood.
And the only robot who can claim that distinction.
I don't know what you're talking. I'm me. I was a child. I grew up. I remember it all. I had little hands. They grew larger. I grew up. I can hate. I can kill. I'm a man.
Craigus, think back 6 months ago. Do you remember a certain day at your laboratory? The day you blacked out?
Of course, sir. Been working hard. My work in the day, the order at night, I must have fainted. But I got back to my apartment. I thought very well the next day.
That day, Craigus, you suffered a cerebral hemorrhage. You died.
I died. You performed that operation on me.
The father and mother informed us of your death immediately. We were able to retrieve your body before it was discovered, and the police informed of the fact. You were duplicated and transferred.
This is some sort of a joke. The idea takes some getting used to. Me. The Craigus. A clicker.
That's right, Craigus. We're clickers. You're handling it quite well. Of course, you've had 6 months to acclimate. It's not really impossible, is it?
Craigus, what is he talking about?
Don't worry about it, dear. What about Maxine? Is she really like me?
Exactly.
Craigus, I don't understand any of this. I'm frightened.
There's no reason for you to be frightened. Think back, my dear, Do you recall an unusual incident at Telefax about 3 months ago?
3 months? The bomb. In the routing room at Telefax. Of course.
Craigus remembers it too.
No, it couldn't have been then. Maxine, we were only trying to discourage the pro-integration editorials. The bomb... We thought there'd only be robots in the routing room.
But I was only stunned. I guess I went home.
He's all right.
You were killed. One of our robots brought what was left of you to us. We barely got you in time. We did make you a bit thinner. You had a tendency to be plump.
That's right. After that, my clothes didn't fit. Thank you.
How do you apologize to someone for killing them? What did you do with our bodies?
They were of no further use. They were processed.
Processed?
Did you want them?
No.
In all these cases, we process the bodies. It wouldn't do to have a dead Craigus turn up when there's a live one walking around.
It's hard to think of yourself as being processed.
I wouldn't know about that.
But I still have my own face. But my hands, how can I feel so complete?
Because you are complete. A man is only the sum total of his experiences. You both have that, as well as certain mechanical advantages. For instance, you can absorb knowledge directly from the computers without study.
But I just can't think of myself as a robot.
Well, who was better off? The king who dreams each night that he's a beggar, or the beggar who dreams each night that he's a king?
There's nothing wrong with us, Craigus.
That's just the trouble. We're perfect. Perfect machines.
Craigus, you're a gerontologist. Your branch has managed to extend life expectancy to more than 100 years.
It would be longer, but the radioactivity left by the wars is working against us.
Exactly. Births are declining at such a rate the father-mother computed the human race will be extinct in a couple 100 years.
We've been working against that deadline.
According to Rule 1 of the manual, we have to operate in the best interests of humanity. That rule has forced us to take these steps.
Forced you? To take what steps?
Unfortunately, humanity doesn't always know its own best interests. The material of the human body can't exist with the radioactivity, and it isn't capable of adjusting fast enough to survive.
We're making headway.
When I perfected the thalamic transplant technique, these clickers knew about it in a day and a half.
But if you robots had the process, why did you risk using Raven? Why didn't you just do it yourself?
We tried. But the shock of dying and being resurrected as a robot was too severe. They re-died. A sort of an adjustment period was needed. Then Raven perfected a way to gap the memory so that the death experience was erased. The subject was spared the knowledge of his new type body until he was able to accept it safely. He refused to register the memory gap process, so we couldn't get hold of it.
they didn't have the thought process to use on you, why didn't you die when you came to?
I originated the process. I understand it. I was pre-adjusted. I even made them agree to duplicate the body of my younger days when it became necessary.
Your death was necessary?
If I'd been taken alive and turned over to the police, my memory would have been dispersed and all of my unregistered formulas lost forever. But dead, they were able to save me and my memory.
How long have you had the process?
Almost a year. You two are the first full-cycle transplants.
What do you do now?
Wait for the leaders to die, and then reactivate them. When the time is right, you will announce that you've achieved immortality. When the rush for applications is over, you'll probably be deified.
So the machines take over.
Craigus, is it true that there will be nothing but machines? That we are machines?
Yes. Yes, it's true. Machines. But you're a beautiful machine.
You know beauty. How do you feel toward Maxine?
I love her.
And you?
I love him very much.
And that's a lot for a couple of godless, soulless robots.
Are you godless, Craigus? Search yourself, it's important. Are you godless?
No. No, I don't think so. I'm not.
Then you can't be soulless. Look, a man may have his leg amputated. Is his soul decreased by that loss?
No.
Not even a fraction of 1%?
Of course not.
What if a man loses both legs?
A negative can't be compounded. The soul would be the same. You just get artificial legs.
You've just received an artificial body. A new body. Ageless. Tireless. Disease-free and renewable every 200 years.
I guess nothing has changed except maybe a few chemicals.
In effect.
Well, that transplant must include the soul.
No, only the memory which includes the faith that there is a soul. Whatever it is, you seem to have it.
And when the entire human race has been transplanted, death will cease to exist.
And birth will cease to exist, too. The most precious hope of every woman.
How do you think these two R-96s would like to pick up 4 points?
You can raise them to R-100s? Make them propagate themselves?
I worked it all out prior to my recent death and resurrection. I didn't want to turn it over to you until I didn't need you anymore. Now I don't, since we're all on the same side. How about it, you two? It'll take several simple operations. Hardly more difficult than removing a rib. Somebody has to be first.
Self-procreating.
It's a pretty sloppy way of doing things, but it fulfills a certain psychological need.
Paradoxical, isn't it? I spend my life seeking immortality on one hand and seeking to destroy it on the other.
I love you, Craigus.
Of course, the operation was a success, or you wouldn't be here.